Hey everyone, it's Angela with Mystic Moon. So whether you're listening to this in the morning, in the afternoon, or the evening, I just wanted to go ahead and do a little voice memo here, reading out of a book. This book is called You're a Queen by Natalie Sophia, and I did get her permission to be able to do this. I'm also going to put her information in the description box below as to where you can order this book from an Amazon link, as well as her handles. And yeah, I just really like this book because it has to do with tarot, and it also just has to kind of in a way do or have to do with like psychology, where, you know, it prompts you to ask yourself questions and really deeply reflect. So I went ahead and chose the tarot card, the Queen of Swords. Okay. And so I'm going to go ahead and read what the author has written here, and then we're going to go into some questions, and I'm actually going to answer the questions. So you guys can answer them as well in the description box down below, or just do it on your own, or just enjoy the chat or the listen. Anyway, so let's get into it. So the book says, meet the Queen of Swords. She sits with one hand open and welcoming and holds a sword in the other. She is the queen known to cut through the bullshit and bring clarity and truth to a situation. In the tarot deck, the swords are associated with our mental state. The Queen of Swords' lesson is being honest with oneself. She represents our own ability to face the truth no matter what, and avoids lies and deception. So your inner Queen of Swords is encouraging you to really get truthful with yourself in every area of your life. So this is the author speaking. In my humble opinion, we cannot be completely honest with ourselves until we understand our value system. You might already be in touch with yours, yet I also know there are quite a few of us who are unclear of exactly what our value system is or how it impacts our lives. I talk more about this later in the chapter, but I just wanted to preface, just turning the page now, to the fact that all of us deceive ourselves to some degree or another from time to time by engaging in patterns and behaviors that go against our value system. Of course, most of the time it is unintentional, and that is where other people will usually step in and mirror to us what we are inadvertently doing to ourselves. This is both the beauty and the crux of higher consciousness and healing. Ooh, I love that little bit. So now I'm going to go ahead and jump to the reflection points here. So these are questions to ask ourselves. So the first one is this: where have you been lying to yourself? Maybe it shows up as a career that feels less than ideal to you, but pays the bills. Or perhaps it is facing you in your bank account, or maybe the deception occurring within your feelings around old relationships. Ooh. So, where have I been lying to myself? I think that there's a couple of things that come to mind for me. You know, it's very easy to be in, let's just say, a Queen of Cups, not that that's a negative, but very much in your emotions and just almost in a way drowning in either self-pity or self-doubt or just whatever, low self-esteem. And I've been there many times in my life. And when I'm swimming there, it's really difficult for me to like really pull myself up by the bootstraps and go, you know what? It's time for you to get your shit together, So where have I been lying to myself in the past? I feel like I've been lying to myself by maybe blaming certain people in my life for my problems. That's what I think. That's what's coming to mind for me in this moment. There are some decisions that I've made, and those decisions that I made were based on I just didn't value myself, and I also didn't even value my time. So my own low self-esteem issues and low self-worth really caused me to deal with people in a way where I overcompensated And I just went above and beyond. And I was doing it for myself. I wasn't doing it for them. So you see what I'm talking about? I was lying to myself. Oh, I'm such a good giving person. I'm so this and I'm so that. And it's like, wait a second. You're doing it for yourself. So it was only when I was able to take a good hard look at the motive behind it, which in a way was selfish and maybe even a little manipulative. But see, I would have never really saw myself like that. But that's the thing. When you have traumas and unhealed wounds, sometimes you will operate in dishonest and manipulative ways. So I just started realizing that a lot of the times that I was saying yes, and a lot of the things that I was doing as an overdoing or overgiving was based upon my own lack. It wasn't really coming from a solid, good place. So that is the way that the Queen of Swords has shown up for me to show me where I might have been lying to myself. So I would love to hear from you guys in the comment section below in ways that maybe you were lying to yourself in the past. So now we're going to go ahead and go into the next one, which is, did you really not see that breakup coming, or the fact that he or she might have been cheating? Or were you lying to yourself and turning a blind eye in order to avoid having to face the pain? Oh my God, you guys, this one speaks to me so personally. Okay, so a while ago, I mean, this was like way before Mr. Moon, but I was dating this guy and I was just head over heels. He was just, gorgeous and just everything. And the thing is, the initial chemistry and everything and attraction was awesome. It was like a fairy tale. But when we really sat down to have, like, I'd say our second conversation, I remember him saying to me, I'm really not into commitment. And I remember in that moment choosing to turn a blind eye, or I should say a deaf ear. And I'm thinking to myself, that's not going to apply to me. I mean, I'm thinking this, okay? I'm thinking I'm all that in a bag of chips. This guy's going to fall madly in love with me, and that's not going to be the case for me, okay? So the thing is, I don't agree, of course, with the way that the guy went about handling the situation. I mean, he was lacking tools at that time, and obviously I was too. I wasn't listening. I just, whatever. But it's one of those things where that should have been a red flag for me, that he was basically telling me that he's really bad at commitment, that he doesn't want to be committed, that he is not going to be faithful to me. So when I unfortunately found out, and it's not like we were in a committed relationship, but I felt that we had some sort of understanding that if he was going to see other people, or I would, that, we would communicate that to each other. But who the hell was I kidding? People really don't do that. So, you kind of think like because you communicate it that it's going to like somehow be okay. Well, it wasn't. So I ended up hearing from his roommate's girlfriend of all of people that, he was in fact seeing other girls because she's at the house with the boyfriend. They all, they're sharing space together. So they hear these things, and so she ends up telling me this stuff, and I had a choice right then and there to just say, you know what, I'm done, pretty much, because I did feel hurt. I feel betrayed because I did, in a way, feel like I was special to him, but that could have just been my own fantasy, right? So, yeah, that was just really sad and devastating for me in that moment, but I did, confront him. And he did have a choice to just basically either A, own up to it, or B, just tell me, you know what, I told you I'm not into commitment. I want to be able to do whatever I want to do. We're not in a relationship. He chose to lie about it. So it just really sucked because it wasted 2 more months of my time and created a lot of wounds for me. There was a lot of shit that didn't make sense. And I kind of now in retrospect kind of look at him like he was a narcissist, but I can't go around labeling every person that does these types of things as a narcissist, But there was some gaslighting, there was some manipulation, there were some cruel things that were said, some things that just really made me question my whole reality and just basically sanity. So I just got caught up in something because I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to see the red flags. I didn't want to listen to my gut. I knew deep down that she was right. I knew deep down that she was telling me the truth, but I just made excuses for it. So then 2 years later, he dumps me anyways, and then I'm heartbroken all over again. So there you go. Anyway, so that's what comes to mind when I see that question. So, what do you value the most in yourself? I would probably say integrity, okay? And that's not to say that I have always had integrity in every situation in my life, or that somehow I am always going to be a good, truthful, honest person in every situation. No, I'm obviously only human. But there is something inside of me that just can't do certain things. I just can't. I'm not able to. It's kind of like you physically can't move your foot, because it just doesn't feel right. So you just don't do it. So there's just certain things that I won't even go down that road or even engage in that kind of situation because it doesn't align with who I am. And the older that I am getting, the stronger it gets. And then it might even be at a point now where it's just like, okay, so now you're going to be a grumpy old lady now and not do anything that doesn't feel right. So I'm kind of trying to balance that out. All right. Next one. What do you value the most in relation to others? So if I'm understanding this question correctly, maybe I'm not. What I really value is just real, raw honesty, just being totally authentic. And what is that kind of calling the pot kettle black, however that goes? Because I haven't always been authentic. So it's a little unfair for me to say, well, I demand that in other people. But as long as I am really, really trying to come from an honest, raw, and authentic, being completely unafraid space, I really want somebody to want that too. I really want somebody to be able to meet me in that space. That's really what I enjoy the most, is just raw. It's almost like the more raw and just deep somebody can be with me, I don't know. I connect on a soul level in that. And that maybe somebody can look at that and say, that's just trauma. I don't give a shit. That's just me. And that's just what feels right for me. I am a deep person, deep thinker, and I need to go deep. So if we can't go deep and it's all surface shit, it ain't happening, baby. It's just not. And that goes for lovers and friends. So are you familiar and in touch with your value system, or do you still feel that it needs some work and fine tuning? Yeah, it definitely needs some work and fine tuning. I used to think that I was super solid, and life has thrown me a few curveballs, and I've gone through some shit where I'm just kind of like, you know what? Maybe I'm not as well-rounded as I thought I was, When you think you got it all figured out, it's like life throws you a curveball and says, no, you don't. You don't got shit figured out, lady. Anyways, so that's what I have for you guys when it comes to the Queen of Swords. I just thought that this was a fun way to just kind of talk about some stuff while using an incredible book, Girl, You're a Queen by Natalie Sophia. That is the book, and I will list the information down below. So I hope that you guys have a good morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you guys are listening to this. Take care, and until next time, bye.